Today, on the third Sunday after Pentecost, we see a very, very famous reading of the Gospel. And the Gospel and the Epistle reading today were very, very beautifully in synergy. The Gospel reading talks about us not being anxious, that if God takes care of the birds of the air and the lilies of the field, how much more will He take care of you? We are reminded who the Father is and how He cares for His children. St. Paul, writing to the Romans, says very beautifully that we are to embrace our sufferings in life. Every human being has times of trials and tribulations, of pain and sorrow and suffering. And St. Paul so beautifully says that suffering can lead to God. In fact, he says that suffering, enduring our suffering patiently, builds character. And character, endurance, and endurance, hope. And hope leads us to God. We live in a world today, as we have mentioned several weeks in a row, that is in conflict, a world that is in pain. Illness surrounds us, anxiety, suffering. We live in a world that needs character. It needs endurance, it needs patience, and more than ever, it needs hope. We said last week that it's a bit ironic that we are trying, through different social movements, to create the perfect world, but without the perfect God. Anytime we have these movements, when God is left out, the movements always fail. The movements may be just, they may be righteous, but if we want to change the world, we have to first change ourselves. If we sanctify ourselves, if we become Christ-like, see that just as the gospel says, the darkness will be filled with light around us. The way for us to change the world is by first creating within us a Christ-like personality and character, real character, that affects and infects people around us, that causes others to be influenced by our character. Unfortunately, as long as we continue to try to create the perfect world without the perfect God, I fear it will fail over and over again. There are many righteous causes, and the more that we do to bring righteousness and justice to our world, of course we should. We should love all our neighbors. We should do good in the world. We should always promote Christian values. In fact, today's gospel reading is a continuation of the Beatitudes, of the Sermon on the Mount. And what does Christ say in the Beatitudes? Blessed are the poor, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the meek, blessed are those who seek righteousness. The Christian character has been spelled out by Christ for us. We know what it is. Work lies ahead that needs to be accomplished and achieved. If we have character, if we understand the Christian principles and implement them in our life, you'll see that the world will change all around us. May God help us to change the world. And may this happen with the perfect God